I'll tell you, if you're in the market this year for a vehicle or even next year, you'd be dumb not to come down to this show. For $25, one, it's a fabulous day. Bring your wife and kids. You get to touch, feel. You see, it's the greatest product in the industry. It is fabulous from a consumer point of view. You can't beat it.
David Menzies for Rebel News here at the Canadian International AutoShow in Toronto. Well, folks, I'm with Dennis DesRosiers. He is the owner of DesRosiers Automotive Consultants and probably one of the most knowledgeable people about cars in our entire Great Dominion. And Dennis, I couldn't help but notice going through the program that there's so many automakers here as per usual, but conspicuous by their absence was Mercedes and Volvo. And I know around the world the landscape for auto shows is indeed changing. I'm just wondering, is the auto show becoming less relevant in this day and age of social media where, as you said off camera, used to be this is where you'd go for a grand reveal. Now everyone knows about any new product by going on the internet weeks ago. What are your thoughts when you look at major automakers like that deciding, heck, it's not worth setting up a booth here?
Well, there's two sides to a show, which you correctly identify. The side that I personally identify with is Media Day, like here at the Toronto Auto Show today, where the vehicle companies are introducing all their products and things like that. And that's why I go to Europe and Japan and down to Detroit every year, is for these reveal days. That part of the show is indeed disappearing. With social media and all of these other avenues to get the information, there's very little that someone like myself doesn't know before today. And so the grand reveal side is pretty well dead. They still do it, but a lot of people are questioning it. The other side of the show is in the next 10 days, this show in Canada, in Toronto, is going to attract record attendance, and it's ordinary Joe Blow consumers getting out of the bad weather at this time of year and coming down to gawk at all of the wonderful product that's on the show. And there's hundreds of vehicles here. That part of the show is more alive than ever. And so for the companies that decide not to come here, I understand the media reveal day decision part of that. I don't understand the consumer side. Maybe these luxury companies have such a rarefied consumer that they don't need it. But I tell you, there's going to be a lot of vehicle decision making, purchase decision making made over the next 10 days.
Also, Dennis, you've seen so many auto shows over the decades. Do you think the days of glory of the auto show are over? I mean, we're standing right now in the Ram truck area of the show, and I remember at the Detroit auto show many years ago, they had a big reveal, and they literally ran bulls downtown Detroit. I'm sure you recall this. There you go, with cowboys with lassos, and these kind of over-the-top, grandiose displays, you just don't see them as often as you used to.
Well, and you don't see them, and every year one of the highlights of Detroit was what outrageous things some vehicle company is going to do, drop a vehicle out of the sky. I remember one of the years, I forget which company, drove the vehicle through the front pane of glass at the Cobo Hall in Detroit, the bulls going down the street and things like that. That's probably the personality of management more than anything, and it's more stick your nose to the grindstone and get things done. It attracts a different kind of talent, and that current talent, it doesn't have the flair for the dramatic. It's how do we better market a vehicle? We don't need to do that. It also comes back to the Media Day issue that I talked about earlier, in that in Detroit they had 10,000 of the top media from around the world, and now they don't, because you don't need a Media Day for these grand reveals. And so
there's no real news, I guess.
There's no real news. I personally believe, though, that any vehicle company that ignores the consumer side of the show is making a mistake.
And Des, one last question. On the flip side, even though auto shows are diminished, they're less glitzy perhaps, speaking for consumers, would you recommend anyone who's in the new car market to still make the trek down to an international auto show such as this one for basically, you get one-stop shopping minus the test drive, of course, under one roof?
I'll tell you, if you're in the market this year for a vehicle or even next year, you'd be dumb not to come down to the show. For $25, one, it's a fabulous day. Bring your wife and kids. You get to touch, feel. You see, it's the greatest product in the industry. It is fabulous from a consumer point of view. You can't beat it. And you get entertained for your $25, not just a lot of advice and independent advice. There's vehicle reps here from all of the different manufacturers and the dealers, and you don't have the hard pressure that you find in a dealer showroom.
Well, Dennis, once again, thank you again for your time and your expertise. Always appreciated.
Thank you.
Hey folks, have you heard? Rebel News is going on a cruise. Please go to rebelnewscruise.com, get all the details, and I hope to see you on the boat come July as we head north to Alaska.